Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Tustin. Good morning. We are welcoming everybody of the warmth of the indoors and everybody online. If you haven't done so, will you please silence your cell phones so we don't interrupt the service? We are so pleased to have Reverend Shara Moscinska. She's representing our spiritual ministry team today, and we look forward to your inspiration. I see it's going to be good. I spy. We're also happy to have our Voices of Unity choir today. Thank you. Directed by the one and only Carol Roman and also accompanied by Jules Vogel and Carol. Oh, Jules. Okay. Disappeared. Also, Carol will be playing a solo today, so we are excited for that. Thank you all for being here. Next Sunday is the annual meeting on the 13th. It will be right here at 12:30 in the sanctuary and also online. Service will be indoors next week to accompany the easy transition into the meeting. We do need a quorum of 50 members, so that counts for people who are here or online. So we do hope everyone can attend so we can conduct our official business. Ballots for the board elections will be going out tomorrow, Monday. I am the only person on the ballot. So if I lose, it's really sad. It will affect me greatly. Nobody else applied, so it's me. I've been an interim board member. I filled in for Erin when she took over the youth and family life, and just a little about me. I think you know a little bit, but I am a volunteer here in the youth and family life. I've been coming for 6 or 7 years. It's so good. I don't keep track, but it's been a while. I'm an elementary school principal, and with that, I bring a lot of organizational skills, technology, teaching, and working with our youth. And I'm the mom of 2 of our youth and family life kiddos. So. That ballot will be going out, even though it might seem a little not important to vote. We do need that for official word on that. Okay. The Unity Usher ministry is expanding, and it's looking for new team members to serve as ushers and ambassadors on Sundays. There's an information meeting in 2 weeks from today here at 12:30 if you're interested. The meeting will be here on campus if you're interested in joining this ministry. And also, we're expanding it to a junior usher and ambassador program. So isn't that neat with the youngers helping out? If you're going to, if the youth are going to do it, their parent has to do it as well. That information will be at that same orientation. Kathy Corner is going to give more information about this next Sunday. But if you have any other questions in the meantime, you can email Unity at unitytustin.org. But again, that meeting will be on March 20th. Shara is rolling with the times and super excited to hear about this class. It just came through in her inspiration in the last week, and it's going to be based around Richard Rohr's book, What Do We Do with Evil? It will be exploring peace through meditation, prayer, Lectio Divina, and book study. It will start Thursday, March 31st in the sanctuary and online. It will also continue April 7th and 14th, and that will be online. And it will be from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Okay. Any of the love offering you give for this class, 50% will be donated to a Ukrainian humanitarian aid decided by the group. Okay? So, yes. That'll be coming out in the e-blast. More information about that if you're interested. And this sign-up will be outside if you just want to hop on that today. It is time to recognize our spring March birthdays, the lucky people. If you have a birthday in March, will you please stand up? Lucky, lucky, woo! Yay, Jack. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Happy birthday. And now, Bonnie Goslin will officially open our service with Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
And good morning again. In the continuing of the opening of our service, I'm Stephanie Aho, one of your prayer chaplains here at Unity of Tustin, and it's my great honor and deep joy to open with the sacred rituals of the lighting of our Christ candle and reading of the daily word. The light of the Christ candle is symbolic of, excuse me, and reminding us of that divine light that shines within each of our hearts and connects us all. The word for today, Sunday, March 6th, is glory. The affirmation, my life celebrates the glory of God. And the scripture from the book of Galatians, chapter 2, verse 20. And it is no longer I who live, but it is Christ who lives in me. Glory fills the world with wonder when I attune my senses to it. I hear it in the sound of waves crashing on a beach and in the resonant harmony of a choir. I see it in sunrises and sunsets, in the beauty of gardens, mountains, and forests, and in the eyes of parents holding their newborn child. I feel glory in the depths of my being at those moments when I understand my life as God's life, living as me. There is no place where my human self ends and the divine presence in me begins. God and I are one. The glory of God is revealed in me as I release the thought that I am only human. God's glory shines through me as the divine presence, the Christ, expressing in my healthy body, my insightful mind, and my loving heart. And the affirmation again, my life celebrates the glory of God. Please join me. My life celebrates the glory of God. And so it is.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone online.
Let's take a moment and really experience that glory inwardly. I invite you, if you're comfortable, close your eyes and know that we can pray as a whole body experience. That our awareness of self as infused with the living love of Christ emanates as glory. Allow yourself to feel into that right now. And as that glory emanates out, notice how virtually and in this room it connects with the glory of your neighbor. Both joining and potentiating the sum greater than the parts. And today we will be examining and celebrating that collective power, the collective glory that we have the privilege to experience each and every Sunday and in so many other ways in this spiritual community. Infuse that with aliveness. Touch into the vibration of joy that we can use for ourselves, for our community, for the Ukraine, and for the world. And holding on to our birthright to vibrate with this glory, we say, thank you, God. And we pray this in the name and after the nature of the indwelling Christ presence. So it is. So this week I was in a wonderful WeSpace group with the Christian Integral Network, and I'm going to share a meditation I experienced there with you all today. So I invite you, as you are comfortable, to settle into your space. Just allow yourself to move and relax. And on your in-breath, just allow yourself to feel our connection and our togetherness. And as you breathe, bring that awareness and bring that air into your heart space. And in order to move down into that heart space, you may want to tap on your head all the way down to your heart, guiding the mind to be in service of deeper love. You can put your hand over your heart to intensify your awareness of that heart space energy. Or bring forward the image of someone you deeply love. And when you are connected to that space, you can allow that image to release, staying present to your open heart. Connecting that to the presence of all of our open hearts, and knowing all of it is contained in the eternal heart of God. Now bring your awareness down to your feet. You may want to wiggle your toes or even tap your feet on the ground. Bring forward the awareness of grounded energy and even feel roots growing from your feet into the center of the earth. And on the in-breath, see those roots bring up through your feet and through your legs divine incarnation. The beautiful marriage and mystery of spirit and matter that is the intelligence of creation. And as that energy travels up, bring your awareness to your creative womb. You may even want to put your hands on your belly space as you breathe in and out. And from this center, attune to your divine presence and identity as the originally blessed self, the true self. That center of beingness. I am here with you now. Travel that awareness up through your heart space and into your mind. And you may find that your mind is unusually clear. Rest and abide in the vibrant clarity of your connected mind. And you might want to see a little door opening right at your crown chakra, where outflows and inflows the transcendent light of God. As you, through you, and beyond you. Now, as we are connected, grounded, present, open-hearted, and clear-minded, allow your whole body to vibrate with that glory and connect that glory to everyone here in this room. And create and activate our we space, our collective, our oneness with the complexity of unity in diversity and its power. Feel its coherent, harmonious peace. It creates a space of emergence, not what we already know, but for what is about to be known. We do not fix our problems, we outgrow them, we evolve them, we transcend them. And this is the field of potential from which that emerges. And it is this coherence we send to Ukraine. It is this coherence that we send with prayer and intention and love. Seeing like an octave, like a kaleidoscope, our coherence, bringing coherence of form and peace and love to those who are now suffering. And their courage and their indomitable spirit influences our coherence as well. Vibrating, humming, in a song and a dance of interconnected love. And knowing that that energy remains, and that dance and song remains, even as we bring our awareness back into this room, this sacred body, this now moment. We affirm our interbeing and our love, holding it all in the silence. And as we move from our awareness within, connecting it once again with the awareness without, as we open our eyes and come back to this room, we extend this coherent love to all of those here on our prayer list at Unity of Tustin, and all of those in our minds and hearts, as our Unity Choir demonstrates the power of coherence with their next beautiful song. It's truth. And we are all part of a choir, the choir of spirit, the choir of love, each and every moment, whether we are aware of it or not. And today, part of my intention is to bring awareness to the invisible, to the collective, to its power and to its potential, by really asking this question. Now, what do we do with evil? What do we do with evil? How do we even define evil? How do we even talk about it? So I brought my friend Kerplunk here to maybe give us a little help. So today starts actually the beginning of our new theme from our 5 principles, and this is principle number 3. The first one, God is. Second, I am, part of that God. And third is I can, I will. This power of mind, thought, action. This power of what I think about, I bring about. This power of thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And on an individual level, that makes a lot of sense. If this is my consciousness and those marbles are something that I want to change because it's not in alignment with the truth of who I am, I can work at it, piece after piece. I can take out thought after thought until all the marbles drop and an order of a higher order reconfigures. But what about collective consciousness? What about collective truths? What about not what we think about, what I think about, I bring about, what we think about, we bring about? Well, that's a little trickier. Because when we have a collective construct, when we are looking at war in Ukraine, and I am a practitioner of spirit that is holding in mind truth and peace and harmony, and I do my part, not much changes. On that collective sphere, we need all of us. This is part of our evolution of moving from the individual to the collective, moving from the me to the we, moving from the ego to the eco. And while we have a little bit less power to change the collective individually, we have a lot of power to do it collectively. But one way to think about evil is that invisible, hard to describe collective space, aberrations of culture that do a lot of damage and cause a lot of harm, but are hard to talk about and pinpoint. Does that make sense? Richard Rohr helps us do it in this wonderful book. Let's start, though, with our own founders, the Fillmores, Charles and Myrtle Fillmores, and see what they have to say. So Charles Fillmore in Prosperity describes evil as the race consciousness formed of thought currents and dominant beliefs of all the people. Of all the people. So in Unity, we call this collective race consciousness. And it tends to draw from the outer, from sense consciousness. And our work as Unity practitioners is to go to that still space inside. So we infuse the collective race consciousness with the light and love of God in our original blessing. And this is important because this brings forward that we space that's very, very alive in our teachings. And what it means is that we're also feeling into our connection, our oneness. Because if you're holding something in oneness, I'm holding it too, and vice versa. So what do we do about that? Charles writes, the race consciousness is formed of thought currents and the dominant beliefs of all the people. And here's an example. He says, the dominating race idea of money getting as the goal of success is now being replaced by the idea of usefulness and good works. So really that doing is being replaced by being. To contribute to the change in the race consciousness, first, resolve to carry forward the great work Jesus has commissioned you to do. Find your gift and live it. In the silence of your inner chamber, you can do a mighty work of power by daily denying the beliefs in avarice, in covetousness, and affirming the universal sway of divine love and justice. You can make the idea of exact equity and justice between human and human the central theme of all your saying and doing. So that's the guidance for us, to make equity and justice the central theme of all of our saying and doing, and to develop how that participates and influences and impacts this eco-collective consciousness, this we consciousness, where we know we are all connected. And this is something that is important that we do in spiritual community. We especially see this in times of war. So we have to remember, the Third Reich emerged in a country that was half Catholic and half Lutheran, and seemingly quite serious about it. Where was the disconnect? What happened? Well, what Richard suggests is that one of the problems is that Christianity throughout time has over-focused on individual morality, really leaving the collective completely off the hook. Richard talks about how sin and evil are very much not the same thing. In most of Christianity, sin is in general used to designate behaviors that do not comply with various taboos, religious rules, cultural expectations, especially those having to do with purity codes and the body. While evil, which is much more dangerous, is mostly ignored, most especially in our religious institutions. He even makes us wonder if our religious institutions trivialize the very notion of evil and divert our attention from the real thing by focusing both on individual sin and even individual liberation, even the overfocus on individual enlightenment, rather than collective systems that cause much deeper and more widespread human suffering. For example, how did the Catholic Church over-focus on individual sexual sins, but ignore and sweep under the rug widespread sexual abuse on an institutional level? This is what we're talking about. And then to complicate things even further, when behaviors are done on the collective level, they're often praised. But when they're done on the individual level, they're often judged. For example, we often feel and can see how war is good and necessary. It is important that the Ukrainian resistance is fighting and showing deep courage and fortitude. This is weakening Putin's regime and making it less likely that that is going to spread from country to country and country. But we would say that individual murder is bad. It's complicated. National or collective pride is good, but personal vanity is bad. Capitalism is good, but personal gluttony or greed is bad. Sexuality in the media is glorified, but individual sexual expression is shamed. Lying and cover-ups are good to protect a political party or the church or national self-interest, but individuals should not tell lies. You can see how this can lead to a type of moral confusion, a lack of alignment, a lack of congruency, and Richard would argue not very good outcomes. He observes that individual religion-inspired changes have never really accumulated into significant cultural or social positive change. Yet that is where spiritual communities put almost all of our attention up to now, even though it results in very limited improvement of the human condition. Centuries of evangelizing and individual religious conversions do not seem to add up to significant social change or moral development. And this is slowly leading people to realize that sin and evil must be more than personal and private matters. And to me, this is undoubtedly what's behind the decline of religion. Convicting people of individual faults or leading people to individual enlightenment is not seeming to change the world. Yet our spiritual communities at the same time are ignoring the collective sphere, where the potential for transformative change is arguably even greater. or at least as important. And we see this in our teachings. Where did this emphasis on individual sin come from, where Jesus only forgave? The only people Jesus called out were the hypocrites. Everyone else was completely forgiven. Jesus would lament Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the corporate state, the nation state, the collective, the system. Not you, Jerry, from Jerusalem. That's not how our teachings formed. It was never, look what you're doing. But yet that seems to be what the Christian movement has done with the teachings. Paul often talks about sin in the same breath as collective institutions, nation states, and organizations. That corporate demand that now seems to demand our full allegiance and has become, in many ways, idolatrous. Some of our culture and corporate entities and systemic systems are not just too big to fail, they're too big to criticize. Richard Rohr says he gets the most pushback when he talks about capitalism. And he says that when something becomes too big to criticize, that is the definition of the demonic. That is when something starts to take over, becomes the water in which we swim but we cannot see. And it leads to evil flourishing, especially in the form of injustice. So I'm going to read a little from this book. Richard writes, if we do not see the true shape of evil or recognize how we are fully complicit in it, it will willfully control us while not looking the least like sin. Would agreed upon delusion be a better description? We cannot recognize it or overcome it as isolated individuals. Mostly because it's held together by group consensus. We need to be in solidarity with alternative communities and minority groups to see it. The dominant group normally cannot see its lies in any country or any context. It is the air we are breathing, reaffirmed at every cocktail party of like-minded people. We have to pay attention to whomever is saying, I cannot breathe, to recognize the biases at work. This is part of the reason why investigating systemic oppression and issues of privilege and racism belong in spiritual communities. Because injustice benefits someone, and only those who do not benefit can show the dominant group what's missing and what's wrong. We can best see the harm being caused by the injustice within our systems by listening to and being in solidarity with those excluded from those systems. That's where we get the perspective. That's where we get to increase our ability to see from different points of view and shine the light in our blind spots, which is what we don't know we don't know. And it's true for all of us. We are all complicit. We are all complicit even as we sincerely strive for goodness. My 800-mile commute and purchasing of cheaper goods enriches China and Russia. And it strengthens their capacity to oppress, to wage war, to support those wars. It's Jesus and Paul are inviting us to live a vulnerable human life in communal solidarity with sin and with liberation. We participate in both, with our blind spots and with our awake portals of light shining brightly onto all of us. We can admit to paradox in our own psyche because human solidarity is the goal, not moral superiority, private enlightenment, or spiritual status. Human solidarity is the goal. The gospel message teaches us how to spiritually survive and even thrive and evolve inside systems of injustice. Even when we are complicit, we are able to evolve the system at the same time. It's true, right? It's hopeful. It's the both and. And this way, it's not about getting your hands clean or dirty. It's knowing that we participated in all of it. And what can we do? What can we do? So the beginning of a way out is to honestly see what we are doing collectively, to have those conversations. But there is a price. What do you think the price is? I think the price is to honestly see what we are doing collectively and have those conversations. You got to do something about it, yeah. It does kind of increase that responsibility, but there's also a consequence. The consequence we pay is that by doing so, we will no longer fit in with the dominant group. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. You know, our Fillmorian teachings talk about how that race consciousness draws upon sense consciousness, that which is outside of our inner sacred chamber. There's spiritual freedom in releasing our cling to dominant culture and moving into the trunk of the true vine. We are all guilty with one another's sin, and not just with our own. We are all good with one another's goodness, and not just our own. My life is not about me. Mature religion trains us to recognize how evil parades as good so that everyone's future will not be dominated by hidden oppression. Not just for the oppressed groups, but also for the oppressors who are injured as well, just in much more subtle ways. So as we take this in, an important key is to hold that tension, to hold the attention of the both and, to hold the tension of our complicity and our ability to be a stand for good and justice and blessing and the divinity of all. It's to hold it all. And when we hold it all, we avoid extremes. Avoid extremes because we often end up doing evil by thinking we have to eliminate all evil. Instead of doing what Jesus demonstrated how we hold it, how we suffer it, how we forgive it, how we learn from it, just as Jesus does on the cross. When we have the spiritual maturity not to discharge tension into blame, then we have the active compassion we need to work for social change. Whether you do it through kindness or consciousness or prayer or education or action or all of the above. And here's another key. Here's another key. Everything belongs. It's all part of creation. So sin, evil, and disorder, included and forgiven, is divine order. Can you feel that? Satan, too, was made part of creation and therefore is part of our collective existence and part of the dynamism of our own unfolding and evolution. The pattern of order, disorder, and reorder is the redemptive evolutionary plan of God. And our work, in the words of Wendell Berry, is to practice resurrection. Practice that holding and the transformation that emerges from it. Not what we already know, but what we're about to know. Not what we've already been as a collective, but what we have the potential to be. Because no matter how hard we practice spiritual principle, we cannot change collective consciousness and collective culture by ourselves. The Ukrainians cannot expel Putin's forces by themselves. But together, we can do great things that can alchemically even lead to new levels of cooperation, new levels of connection, and the emergence that has never before yet existed in human history. So let's see how that's looking today. Okay. Ukrainian men, and I want to really honor the men. Many women are staying and fighting, but the men, they are being required to stay. And this is something all male psyches carry that sometimes we women underappreciate. That under attack, the men know that they will be expected to protect, even with their lives. Ukrainian men aged 18 to 60 are remaining in Ukraine. They are demonstrating fierce courage, being led by President Zelensky, increasingly supplied with needed weapons and ammunition from the West. The US, UK, EU, and many other jurisdictions all restricted Central Bank of Russia assets. Major banks were removed from SWIFT. Oil giants have exited Russia, abandoning millions in investments. Germany scrapped the Nord Stream 2, an $11 billion undersea pipeline. MasterCard and Visa halted sales in Russia. Google pulled Russian media off their networks. Sports bodies barred Russians from competing. 83% of us in the US support sanctions on Russia, and 69% are willing to pay higher fuel prices, rallying around something larger than ourselves. Russians face up to 15 years in jail for not upholding the official war narrative. Nevertheless, over 7,000 Russians have been arrested for protesting. And countless people all over the world, including right here at Unity at Tustin, are praying individually and collectively for peace. That's how we bring around collective change. And that is how we change and transform what is so hard to name, that evil that we are part of, but also means we can be part of the transformation of as well. May we all know we are divinely blessed. Love will have its way. Stay resolute, stay connected, and God bless.
Yeah, we need to take a little breath, a big breath, a deep breath. Thank you, Shara. So before we come to the time of receiving our tithes and our love offerings, which we so generally give from our hearts, we do want to take a moment to welcome anyone who might be here today for the very first time. If you are here for the first time, we want you to know that at Unity of Tustin in particular and Unity in general, we believe that there is one God, one heart, but many paths. So wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here today. If you did not receive a welcome packet and a rose as you entered today and you are here for the first time, would you raise your hand so our ushers can come to find you? Welcome. Please keep your hands raised so those ushers can come and find you. So those ushers are on their way. Keep your hands raised. And for those of you who already did receive your welcome packet, again, we welcome you here today. Inside your welcome packet, you'll find a sticker that you can place on your chest and name tags so that we can identify and connect with you after the service. And all of you who are here today and who are new, if you'll fill out the information card, Reverend Shara will reach out to you one-on-one to connect. And also, then we can put you on our mailing list so that we can stay in touch with you and inform you of all the good things that we have going on here. So let's see. In addition to all of welcoming our newcomers, we are coming to that time of receiving our tithes and our love offerings. And every financial gift that we give, that you give, it supports the programs and ministries that we have right here at Unity of Tustin. It supports the ways that we give out into our community. For example, at the Catholic Worker, we give an amount each month to support homeless in our own community. We give to Silent Unity and to Unity Worldwide Ministry. So our financial gifts benefit all of us in many ways, both here and beyond. But also, I invite you on a more personal level today to dedicate your financial gift to the unfoldment, to the growing of these teachings that we receive right here from Reverend Shara today and each week. Because as you dedicate your gift to those teachings, to the unfoldment in your own life, it benefits you as well as all of these other programs that we have here and beyond. So as we gather our tithes and our love offerings, hold them dear, hold them close into your heart. Together, we'll say the love offering blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as our ushers do gather those tithes and our love offerings, the choir has another gift to share.
I
one goal, to feel your love in my soul.
Give us vision that we may see our true identity. Give us power that we may do your will in all things. Lord, let us remember you. Give us vision that we may see our true identity. Give us power that we may do your will in all things. Lord, let us remember you. Give us vision that we may see our true identity. Give us power that we may do your will in all things. Lord, let us remember you. Give us vision that we may see our true identity. Give us power that we may do your will in all things. Lord, let us remember you. Your will in all things. Lord, let us remember you.
I do know that I speak on behalf of the choir. That's truly a blessing to be back here singing with all of you. So we do take a moment and bless this love offering. Divine Oneness, we are in deep gratitude for being members here of this community, for sharing our tithes and our love offerings, our financial gifts, and for the benefit that they bless our community with, both here and beyond. And so it is. Amen. We do invite everyone to join us for hospitality on the patio after the service. Feel free to pop into our bookstore and peruse all that we have there. The prayer chaplains will be at the entrance to the meditation gardens at the arbor. And so if you have a prayer, a need, a gratitude, they'll be there. They have on white ribbons, and any prayer request that you share, of course, is held in deep confidence. Shara has her Sunday salon today. It'll be right here in the sanctuary at 12:30, from 12:30 to 1:30. If you'd like to take a deep dive in today's topic, then everyone will be gathered here, again, 12:30 to 1:30. Stacy Robbins and her family have rented out the sanctuary here on the 19th, and it says it's a half-day encounter with your soul called A Healing Experience. There's flyers out on the welcome table, and members of her team will be there to answer any questions after the service today. And so now, as we do begin to bring our service to a close, let us say our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth in blessed week. Have a blessed week. Thank you.